So we're here at the JP Neil Pryde Distributor Conference here in beautiful Jericoacoara in Brazil. Standing here right in front of the Club Ventos who's hosting us. And today we have Robert Stroj, Sail Head Designer.
So stoked to talk to you this morning. We actually put him up from bed early and we wanted to do this. I mean, you don't get that many opportunities to spend some time together and then also to record it to, see what we have here. Huh?
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Yeah. I actually have some question also. Okay, we have a lot of technical things about the sales, of course, you know, how they're made. But how long have you been in the company?
Since very end of '99, so about just pushing 25 years. Any day.
What did you do before that? You were in some.
Yeah,
I remember.
I was working for ART, which was
right.
the old fanatic kind of group until it got to Boards and More. So I was living in Tarifa, and I started in that company with Monty Spindler back on Lagarde, and then we moved to Tarifa, and then
they had really good sales. I remember in the 90s, we actually did Fanatic then, and I remember the Wave Sail RT. Was it orange? No, I don't know. But it was really good.
Yeah, Rip Wave or
exactly.
Pure Wave or something.
Yeah, that's how it started. I forgot about it. Okay, so
but now we're here.
Yeah, now we're here
with these sales.
With those sales. But do we have questions a little bit? I was thinking, of course, I know a little bit, but how is it coming up with? Is there's a lot. I mean, combat have been for a long time, but how is it coming up with that? The changing in the sail is that. Do you have your local guys testing? You have your team, right? You have yourself, or
let's say all the team related sales, which means wave racing, freestyle. This is fully driven by the team, by the riders.
Yeah,
you know, from kind of the ideas, what they miss, what they would like. Sometimes they come with some ideas. Sometimes I have ideas what I would like to try, and I just put it on them. So it's a little bit of everything in those kind of directions. With the racing cells, it's kind of much more structured because the guys are very technical testing against, and they will tell me, okay, you know, it's really good in this wind range, and then after this there is this and this problem. So you're kind of doing these evolutions, where in the wave cells, you know, it's very personal, and this is actually interesting. So with the wave cells, I always make sure to work with not just one or two riders, but to actually involve them, you know. And now it's really cool to have a Marino next to the Morgan and Robbie. So two guys are like really in the side shore, completely looking for something else. And then you always have a Robbie who is not a big guy, but he likes kind of power and drive. And then Morgan is just like more of a finesse. And now it's Marino coming in with, so basically you try to kind of combine all that and come up, especially with the combat, that it's kind of do it everything wave cell. So it's very interesting.
Talk more about that.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. But you're located on Maui, right?
Yeah. Since I start, Neil Pryde brought me to Maui. I go every summer about 3 months to Europe.
Yeah.
And this is when I work really intensely with the guys on the racing cells. So I usually go either to Fuerteventura, Garda Lake. We meet in few places out of France to have some kind of light wind conditions, some high wind, and test there.
Great. I think we start with the Flatwater line that we've been riding a lot here together with the wave sails. Yes. But we have what do we have in the Flatwater except for now the race sail? I think we can wait with that.
Yeah, so you go kind of all the way from Fusion, which is, I would say, closest to the wave cells, and then Fusion, it's like a very simple 5-batten lightweight sail. And basically, if you compare Fusion, you know, when I'm designing these sails, I usually get, like with this part of the line, I really get inspired and start drawing things from the wave cells. So Fusion actually, like, originally was even based on the Atlas, but then you get like a bigger foot, you get even deeper profile, you basically adopt it for flat water sailing, maneuver sailing. So that's the whole idea how design of a Fusion works. And then when we are going into the more like a performance cells, then they are actually drawing back from the racing cell, you know, starting with V8, where I take the racing design and reduce the sleeve size, put the small cams, and then Speedster another step where there is no more cam. So it's really like my design philosophy kind of pulls from two sides, and I use all that I learn with the team riders when I'm designing these cells. Yeah.
I was like this fusion. I've been using it. I really enjoy it. I can have it like in 5.5 Lightwind wave sail. But I think the draft is a little bit further back, right, compared to an Atlas? Or?
Yeah, of course, because the idea is that this has to drive much bigger, kind of heavier boards. So Atlas, it's supposed to be kind of on a wave boards or a freestyle wave on a smaller boards. So this is actually definitely the idea. It's you can see it's quite a bit fuller. There is quite a bit more profile on the battens if you compare, and boom gets longer, and all this gives you this extra drive that you need. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, this is one of our most selling sails this year.
And
So-
I know people use it for like every board. They use it for freestyle wave. They use
Uh-huh.
it for like all the free ride boards, and use it for that. I like the funster, so it's really like a super versatile sail for sure.
Ah, cool.
We really enjoy this sail. Then we have the ride.
Yeah, so that's another step towards performance, towards being used with more like a Flatwater boards. It's you can see it's getting much more closer already to the outline of the slalom kind of sails. The big difference is that this is the first sail with a cross batten. So it's like this, basically here the whole logic in between fusion and ride, I would say it's the split of the whole range. It's also like a sail where the foot it's still moderate, so it's still much easier for the maneuvers. The weight will be lighter than the Speedster, and my main focus on this kind of sails is to make sure they have a really good power, because people don't want to use huge sails, be over, you know. So the idea is here that you can actually go with a smaller sail and have fun.
So this compare like to the Speedster, which are more performance oriented, faster sail. It's like you can ride this in 6.2, but maybe in the Speedster you would ride a 6.7.
6.7, exactly like this. Yeah. So this will get like it's always like this. If you take two sails, if you design them the same, and you put less battens on one, it will start planing earlier. But of course, the range will be shorter. So this is meant to not push like overpowered conditions, but to actually really enjoy it in the lighter and medium wind.
So one bottom less is because it gets a little bit softer and it's
Gets softer, gets a little bit lighter, but mainly because of the softness, it inflates easier and starts going before.
This is also, and you can see the claw here. It's more
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a Flatwater.
exactly. It's exactly. It has a compact claw, and this actually helps the lower twist that forgives.
Yeah.
You know, like the main idea of this claw is that the batten can twist behind and release the power.
And then you have tube on.
Yeah, this one actually has two tubes on this one, and so this one has no tubes on the fusion, and then you have two tubes on ride. So that's again where I said the split in between kind of wave oriented cells, and so this starts with two tubes, and then you come to Speedster that has everywhere the tubes except in the foot batten. Yeah.
So we can see here the draft. The tube is to really put the draft on the same place, kind of.
Exactly, it's to just help with the stability, to prevent the draft, the shape moving back, and just will have definitely extra wind range, for example, compared to fusion of the same size. So you would normally ride again this a little bit bigger than the fusion, and you would ride Speedster again a little bit bigger than the ride.
Is it like here you want to have it pretty forward, but in the lower part, is the draft a little bit moved back so it's take up the board from the
Yes,
forward,
and this is the reason, like you will see on this batten, actually there is no tube, and this is purposely so I don't want a draft to move back in this area because it's really hard to control, but actually some backhand power in this area it actually helps you drive the board in the light wind. It also helps you just get some upwind angle. And interesting thing, it goes all the way to the racing cells. They have all the tubes, but there are stiffer tubes and softer tubes used. Same logic. So actually the crossing batten, I always like to use quite a bit softer than these two battens, for that reason. Okay.
And then we have the Speedster.
That's the one you normally sail when you want to be fast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great sail. It's been popular back home in Sweden. So
it's have a long history.
Yeah, it's now.
Was Saber?
Since,
no, was it
yeah, Saber? It was Saber and Hellcat.
Yeah, Hellcat. Hellcat, yeah.
Speedster replaced it, and it's here since then. And we also have something in the works coming. But yeah, so this, I would say, this is just as fast as any free ride cell. Yeah, so basically, Speedster and V8 are kind of two cells sitting next to each other. It's completely the same concept, except obviously for the two mini cams. So I would say both are as sportive, but actually because of no cams and the flatter profile and stuff, Speedster might be even slightly faster in the very top range, where the V8 will win in the low end because of the cams and because of the extra shape it does. So I think this is kind of the main thing to understand. One it's sacrificing a little bit of the low end, but it's just light and it's really like fast and kind of also easier to handle in the jibes and stuff. And then V8 is like this powerhouse kind of.
So this is for me as a wave sailor. There's no wide mast pocket. It's easy to water start.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that this sail, it's almost like a little bit like I would say a hybrid. So you can see the sleeve, it's much wider than what you see on any other sails here. And the idea is that when it's powered up, you do get a little bit of the smoother profile than with the real REM and this REF. And this is why you see that the body actually, it's like completely behind the mast, where the normal, let's say, wave sails, that the batten will sit next to the mast. This is because it's so wide. And I like to do this to just have this kind of smoother profile, to be really like as performance oriented as possible.
And this is, but when we're talking about the bottoms, do you have the horizontal or do you have vertical shape? Is it something different compared to a wave sail, or?
No, actually here when you are looking, when you are looking my kind of design philosophy, I always insist on having continuous luff panels, because you have a lot of tension running along the front of the sail, and there is, first of all, they really stabilize the profile there, and the other thing, it's also durability wise, it's really important not to put the seams across really high tension in the front, because they can migrate, they can break, no? And then for these materials, this is again on all the cells except the racing, it's not using in the luff panels. I'm using the taffeta, which is this laminate in between the film and the very thin cloth. And the idea of this is that it gives you like a response of X-play of the laminated panel, but it has all the stitch holding from the cloth, so it's very strong and very reactive. And then inside there are Dyneema yarns, the black yarns that you see, to even further help like stability plus minus 45 degrees. Yeah.
Really interesting, small details which we never hear about really. But
yeah, and then there is one more thing I wanted just to bring. I mean, this actually applies now to the ride fusion and stuff. So now before we were doing the cheaper sails like a fusion and ride until now had the normal batten pockets where you put the batten pocket on top of the sail. Now all the sails are having this composite batten pocket, I call them, where the batten actually sits between the two panels. And the big thing about it is that it makes profile completely symmetrical from tag to tag. You remember like in the older days when you would put a batten pocket on one side the sail it's really full, and then on the other one it's flat, and it always wants to rotate to one side. So this is now on all the sails. Until last year we were using the fusion and ride with the old style, but we decided to upgrade. So
Great. I don't think we mentioned that the Speedster has a 7-button compared to the Ride has 6.
yeah, of course. Yeah, Speedster V8 and Racing Cell. This is already using kind of same outline concept, bed and layup, and also you have a already double clue. You can ride. It's still a single clue, and the double clue. So it gives you two positions. The lower one will be the one that makes the sail easier to handle. It will open more. You can hold it in a stronger wind, have a better acceleration. When the upper clue, it just gives you this extra power. So normally I recommend to the people to use the lower clue, and then if they are getting under power, they really want to go upwind and stuff, then you can swap it. No?
Yeah, I always ride the lower, but I'm a short person, light kind of.
And for me, I almost use the upper.
Oh, really? Okay.
But that's why you're not that fast, Gustav.
Yeah, maybe.
You need more twist.
Get out my extra knots with a lower.
Next time,
Thank you, Robert. I will take that home.
Yeah, wait.
V8.
We talked about the V8 here now, so this is,
So those are quite similar, but this.
Yes, it's pretty much they were also developed together. We were testing them together. So this is basically the twin cam, and there are this really cool small intercams in here that they rotate like really soft, and they actually screwed through the sail. You can see.
Yeah.
We can and then what is really cool with these cams is that there are versions existing specifically designed for the RDM and for the SDM mast, but in between them also the length of a cam changes. So that means if you take a sail that, for example, it's specified and delivered with the SDM version, but you want to use the RDM, you can actually just swap these cams, and the RDM cams will be narrower and longer. So again, you have a perfect tension. So it really, you can kind of convert between the two.
Is the same camber?
It's a same camber in different size and different width. So there are basically 3 sizes existing. There is the SDM version, which is in this cam, and then you have a RDM long and RDM medium length, one for under the boom and one for above the boom.
Are you buying that separately, or?
Yes, they are available through.
They are, yeah, okay.
Yes, so you just order. I think for you might make sense to just have few available, and then it's really easy. It's just 2 screws and you just change it.
We still have done numbers on this one. It's a popular sail.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's definitely V8 customers.
Yeah.
It's
definitely.
And also a few racers bought a V8 just to get
hobby racing.
Hobby racing, yeah.
Yeah, actually thinking about it, I think this is the only sail that was in the range at the time I started working 25 years ago. Yeah, because combat was before, but was not there when I started and came back. But the V8 actually never went.
Right, Robert, so here we have the RS Racing Evo 16.
Yeah.
Is it 16?
I think it's 16, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and this is actually the 5.3. It's the very sail used to break some speed records just recently. So exactly. And I mean, for me, what was cool, even other riders from other brands actually bought the sail and used it. So that was a nice kind of reassurance that it's not only riders you pay.
But you can see on the pictures and the film, there is some difference on the sail he was using compared to this one.
Yeah. So actually the sail, he had the idea, he really wanted to have even more area down here in the foot of the sail. So we actually took this design, like the whole sleeve and the shaping stayed exactly the same, and the laugh curve, but we took some area from the top of the sail, just because in the canal it's really hard on the broad ridge to control any size you can control. So we put it down below the boom, so the boom it's like has a cutout and you get even more area. And then the funny thing, it's on the canal he actually wants to have even the foot twist. So if you're looking video, he wants a really big foot, and you can see in the big gust even the foot actually gives up. Because anything you can do to keep steady, it's your friend.
But it's totally pure speed, that sail.
Yeah, that sail, it's pure speed, but you know, this is always like you work on something and then it kind of trickles into.
But the rest is kind of the similar anything like that production we have here?
I would say actually same.
Yeah.
I mean, I took this design and changed these things and then made the sails, yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of happy people with this sail.
Absolutely, yeah.
The world's
Yeah,
It's
and
definitely
yeah, and for me it's also like a sail I really love working on, you know, working with the riders. And then the other thing was also the platform for me to develop 3D software that we are using. So we started kind of designing it with the race sail already 4 or 5 years ago with the developer, and it's completely different thinking to what we were using before. So I went kind of through three generations of designing sails. In the beginning with Monty in the old days, we would draw on a piece of paper, write some shapes, and then be on the knees and cut. And it was very cool. It was actually a very cool system, because at that time, I'm talking like 30-35 years ago, most of the other designers were still kind of using paper patterns, and Monty had this system where you would actually have numbers and have sheets, so you could reproduce your sail anywhere you go instead of carrying like the patterns with you now. And then the next step was basically a 2D computer designs, which I started at the end, just before actually I started working with Neil Pryde, changed to this. But this, it's very nice when you have a lot of data and a lot of experience, and a lot of designers still use this kind of software. But the big difference is you actually put numbers, you put shape, but you don't see what the 3D shape will be. So you actually then build the sail, and once you build it, you rig it, and you see, I want some more here, and then you change your numbers. So, and now the 3D, it's completely kind of in the other direction. So actually design the shape you want to see, and then you unroll 3D panels into the 2D, and only then you actually see what the curves are. So instead of starting with the curves between the panels, you actually start with the shape. So it's very nice, because you actually, if you decide I want to open the head more, you just go in the program, you twist the head more, and then you unroll, and you kind of go this way. So now this is used in all the wave and racing sails and freeride. So it's basically the new program I'm using since a few years. Yeah.
so much there. I was thinking about, you know, rail sails 20 years ago, and you put this one to each other. It's like, this is like, oh.
Yeah, they have
So
at the moment what they have, it's extremely wide love pockets.
Yeah.
And the thing, it's people often think it's that we do this to kind of get a smoother entry, but this is actually the main thing. My design philosophy behind these love pockets, like you see, the shape in the sail pretty much starts from here forward, and the wide sleeve, basically what it does, it creates this connection between this point, between the mast and this point, and it locks all this shape. It's actually locked and cannot move back. So this is for me the main advantage why I really like these wide sleeves, because for the pure aerodynamics, it's not actually important. You could have a narrower sleeve with about the same drag, but this is the main thing. It's this locking of the profile, no? And then the other features, I mean, there are a lot of features, so I don't know where. I mean, the other thing that it's really
a lot of zippers here.
yeah, they're our ultra cams. I mean, this is, I still love these cams. Now they are old. We did them in like 2005 or something, few years after I started, and it's maybe still the only kind of self-adjusting cams, because here we have a system where you have a little Dyneema ropes that split the tension of the batten between the pressure. Half of it goes as a pressure against the mast, and half pulls the sail body. So you kind of have, and then when you change the mast, you just have to retension the batten, and the cam, it's like in a little slots, and it can move back and forward. If you take a thicker mast, you just release, you let the cam slide back. This, and then you have these internal panels that carry all the load. So there is like 4 lav panels.
The black ones.
Yeah,
the
exactly,
stripes.
exactly. So they are Dyneema reinforced, and they basically, like, you have a first short one, and then they are fanning up. So you start with 4 and finish with 1 in the very top. Same like the sleeve, it's kind of tapering. Then you have a carbon where there is no cams, you have these carbon battens to give you just the best possible entry. And yeah, so there are many things in this sail.
So many things.
Yeah, a lot of thinking goes into it. Yeah.
But there's a lot of people have them, and they really say they rig it up, and they don't need to do a lot of tuning. It's good straight away.
Yes, it's actually funny you brought this point. It's for me it's a strong philosophy that they should be used out of the bag, as we said. And how I get this, it's because with the riders, they are like, you know, they're so competitive in this racing that any little thing, if they can improve a little bit, they will do it right away, you know. So normally what I do always at the end of the season, that they were racing on these sails, and they might have find out that they would like a tube a little bit shorter, a little bit stiffer, this one softer, you know, to get this whole balance. So at the end of the year, I meet with Enrico and we look through anything he did, and then it goes straight into the next sail. So like, for example, this sail, it's 100% as they raced it in the last season. So it's like this direct kind of feedback. And that's what I hear from people. They say, you just take it out of the bag and no messing around, kind of. Tension the battens, of course.
Right. So here we have the more maneuver-oriented sails, and of course the legendary combat sail.
Yeah.
When was the combat coming back? 2004, 5?
I can't tell you the year exactly, but I think it was somewhere around there. Yeah.
Dark red, some silver.
Yeah, silver. Then there was a black and white version, which was maybe my favorite one. Yeah, black and silver actually.
I remember it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically our like do-it-all sail that I get the most feedback from, because it's used by all the riders. And we had like a big change for 2024 collection in design, in the logic, in outline. So basically I was getting feedback that the sail before this had really good power, maybe better than any, but when you really got overpowered was a little bit backhand, it was a little bit too drivey. And this is where new combat now was born. So that's about the kind of shape and the idea. You can see that the battens are setting way flatter than before, just on the beach, but then they also rotated much further around the mast, so there is like still plenty of profile to fill in.
Like natural, when you want to have natural.
Exactly, when you want to. Yeah, when you want to open the sail, it just kind of flattens off, and then when you drive it, when you close it, it just gets the profile in it. Yeah.
Yeah, some words from us. I mean, I've been riding the combat this year, and I was totally blown away. I was like running to the guys, like, oh, you need to try it, you need to try it. Of course, the fuse is light, but it's not just the lightness. The perfect twist. I mean, the progression is like, there's not so nice, and the drop forward, and I really like the softness when I was like riding bottom turn. I just cheating, and it was like all the power came down to my rail and just accelerate up on the wave.
Cool. Yeah, that's I'm happy.
I'm so excited about this sail. So okay, cool. Continue now. But
no, it's also other than the shape. So this basically for sure, and the other important thing, it's the weight that we reduced in the last 2 years on these sails. So how we did it, we really worked on a specific materials and the specific techniques on this to be able to do that. And so there is basically now 3 constructions even, but really 2.
Fuse.
Yeah. So we start with the Pro Fuse, which is our like a top of the line. And here we are using the welded technology to put together the panels that are overlapping. And we developed some very special materials, like you see this black material here, we call it Armor Tech. It's like a name we gave it, but basically what it is, it's like a double taffeta laminated over the Technora and the film. And what it gives you, it basically creates a material that it's not only super strong because of Technora, but it also has this skin outside that it's very chafe resistance, so you don't need, like you can see, the sail doesn't need any two-plays anymore, because you actually build reinforcements into the material. And by doing this, you just reduce weight a lot. You remove any seams from anywhere where board can touch, and then you can remove again the reinforcements that before we had for the seams and stuff, and then the weight just keeps going down. So that's where we are now, around 2.5 kilo on the 4.7 size. And then going up, so this is all using Technora, where you see the black yarns. And then we are going to the top, which is in this ultra scrim, which we call it. So this is a very thin 2 mil material. And how we are able to get so thin is because when you are using this very dense yarn configuration, it actually gives you this rip resistance that normally you would need to go with maybe 4 mil at least or something, but actually with this dense yarn you can just drop down the thickness and drop the weight, no? And then the other thing for me that I worked like since few years, I start developing this we call it taffeta laminate, and I use it in last panels of all the sails. And why I really like it, it's like before we would use X-Play or something in here, and it gives the sail that it's very responsive, but also a little bit maybe harsh, a little bit hard, not kind of forgiving. And then the other option, it's you take Dacron, like many sails will use Dacron in this area, which in my for my liking is just a little bit too soft. And especially the problem is once it gets used up and gets older, it just gets softer and softer, and really the sail completely changes. And so here the idea is that you use a thin cloth on one side and then the thin film on the others. So you can see it's actually a material, it's different. So here, yeah, exactly. So this is cloth. Yeah, it's not the Dacron, it's actually a thinner polyester cloth. Dacron normally it's thicker, and so you kind of instead of taking Dacron, you're taking half the weight of it, and then you put the film to it. So you have this to hold your stitching, you have a film for the response, and then you have a Dyneema for the additional reinforcement inside.
Yeah, and and that's new for this year.
This is new since 3 years. I
3 years,
started in the wave sails and now actually migrated. Now every sail has it. And the black sleeve in the racing sail, it's again the same material in a different thickness.
Okay, I just want to talk a little bit, because 2024, I felt a big change. What was the big, I think there was a huge change.
Yeah, this was the year that we really like worked the whole winter with the guys, with Robbie, Morgan, and we basically really rethought the sail. We really wanted, like you can see, you're holding it now, that the sail it's now like really flat in the upper area. So only once you get the power that the battens kind of inflate and get fuller. You can also see the the sleeve. There is no more two-piece sleeve, just again to save the weight. So it's like a one-piece construction, and the sail became a slightly higher aspect ratio. The boom is shorter, and the twist it's very tight on the beach, but actually twists with
Yeah, and combat is, we have the Profuse here, but we also have combat in some other constructions.
Yeah, exactly. Now we have it in 3 constructions, or it's basically actually 2 constructions. It's a Pro Fuse and that is a Power Fuse. So the normal combat, it's using this Power Fuse panels that you see down here. And this is something that we developed already, I think 10-12 years, maybe more ago. But this is now the 3rd generation, so the version 3. The first generation was much thicker, was a very strong panel, but the weight was a problem. So you had like a lot of strips that were kind of overlapping and so. And then the 2nd generation was already reducing the weight, but with the 3rd one we found this way where we actually using different, it's the first time we are using different materials, similar like in Pro Fuse. In the areas where we need more strength, there is like more of the Dyneema and the thicker film. and then they are overlapping. You can see that these panels are actually overlapping and creating, you are having like 8-9 layers in here where you are tapering down to just 2 layers near the batten, and that's why I really like this construction, because instead of it basically eliminates any patches, any two-plies, and makes it just really strong and light in the same time. And the interesting thing is that now with this new combat regular, I managed to get down on the weight so much that it's just 50 to 100 gram different between, so it's not like you have 2.5 kilo cell and the 3 kilo cell. It's actually 2.5 and 2.6 or something, so it's a very small. And then this same construction, exactly the same sail, you can get with the clear window or you get it with the X-Play. There is no other changes in the sail. No?
I should come up with one question.
Mhm.
I mean, there is a change. How about the wave rider approaching the wave sailing? Also, the board design changes. Is that something just glued together and changed in the sail design as well, or is the rider said, I need more power for my moves off the lip, or rotate more in my double maneuvers, or
No, I would say actually maybe even quite the other way. I think the riders are riding actually bigger and bigger boards, and they want the sails that are really neutral. So they need less of the maybe drive and stuff, but actually really it's about the maneuverability. Yeah.
cut. So now we have the 5-button wave sail in the line called Atlas, and this is the Atlas HD.
Yes, so it's for the constructions, it's available in the HD versions and the Pro Fuse. Again, as I explained with the Combat before, there is a small weight difference, so the Pro Fuse will be even lighter. And then the other thing, it's between the two, it's that the Pro Fuse will add a little bit of the softness, forgiveness in the feeling, where the HD will be a little bit more direct and reactive just because of the slightly thicker materials used. And this sail, it's something that, as you know, it's our like a really more powerful onshore sail for the bigger guys. But for me, it's really important to design it and test it really as a wave sail. So it's not like a flat water bump and jump, but it's a proper wave sail that really works for the heavier guys. No.
So it's 5 buttons to get more control when it's bumpy, or if it's onshore, you're a little bit overpowered, you need more ground to get out.
This and definitely the power is the difference. You can see how much more curve there is on the batten, so there is this kind of constant pull, and then the extra batten just makes it stable through the wind range. Yeah.
It's also popular. It's a lot of people having this in the bigger range and
That's
smaller.
exactly, if you are doing like if I am buying a set of sails, for me I would take like 5.4 Atlas, 4.7 Combat, 4.2 Combat, kind of. It's a perfect little range of 3 sails. Yeah.
Close to, we've done a lot of sails, huh?
Yeah.
Then we have some specific, we have the Wizard, freestyle, pure freestyle sail, but still good in the waves and play around. They do that.
Yeah, you can just rig it differently. Like for the freestyle, the riders rig it pretty full and extremely tight because they don't want any flop in the leech, you know, in the moves and stuff. For taking it just normal sailing, you just add a little bit more downhaul.
We have it actually here.
Yeah.
And do we have some, And
this is also using our Power Fuse laminated panels that I explained before.
Yeah.
And then it's using film in the top, no X-Play, just to get as much response in the top of the sail. Yeah.
Do we have any more specific sails? Do we still have zone?
Yeah,
the 3-button.
There is zone, yes.
Yeah.
And that's like really kind of specific down the line sail. For
Amazing sails.
Oh, it's amazing
to
have shot in the morning.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm really glad we did this. I learned a lot.
Thanks
I hope
for
you will
taking
do
your
too.
time.
And the wind is picking up. So it's been windy every day here, huh?
Since I came, even when it was kind of cloudy and some rain, but the wind always comes through.
Yeah.
This is my first time in Brazil, actually. You have been here before, I guess?
Not here. I was down in Fortaleza, but first time here.
And you have been here before?
I have been here before, but not with details.
No.
It's been really nice.
No, it's amazing.
Yep.
And thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for
It was
doing this.
it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
And we see you on Maui.
And I
Yes,
really
exactly.
appreciate
See
the work you're doing, the passion.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talk together, you can really feel how much you also listen to people to absorb what we think, and even customer trying and people coming on the beach here. I can see you listening, taking in, and then it's nice. It's a good feature.
That's actually fun of the work, you know, to be in the team, kind of work as a team.
But to be a team member is not always easy, but you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks.